So keep on going with your silly dream by Piter on AO3. This fic may include mentions of suicidal thoughts. That is your warning. Read by Lily6645. Chapter 60. Izuku, the Apology World Tour. Summary. Izuku says sorry. Duh. Izuku adjusted his new hoodie for the third time in the last minute. Studying his reflection in the water, he looked good as new. He shuddered slightly at the thought. The only comfort were the cuts that marred his body. They were proof Izuku had lived, and that he hadn't simply dreamed the whole thing. He tensed, his hand twitching as it pulled at the new stitches slightly. It would be hard to hide the fact that he was now missing 3 fingers, but he'd be damned if he didn't try. The gloves, pinky ring, and middle finger had been filled with stuffing from a plushie he'd gutted. As long as no one looked too close, and he kept his glove on, he should be okay. The vigilante stepped back from the shore and began his jog into the city. His first victim? Eraserhead. Not only was he the first pro Izuku had interacted with, but he knew what to expect from the man. An awkward hand on the shoulder. Some even more awkward words, then questions about shooting overhaul. He could deal with that. Since it was a Friday, and Izuku had basically memorized the man's patrol route, he had a general idea where the pro should be. Rather than looking, Izuku sat on a roof and waited. He knew the man would find him. He always did. Sure enough, what couldn't have been 10 minutes later, maybe? His perception of time had been a little off since he left, as if he hadn't been fully there. Izuku pushed himself up and turned to the pro. The man's eyes were wide, his quirk activated. Odd, considering Aizawa knew the teen didn't have a quirk. Hey, Eraser! The man closed his distance in 3 large steps before dragging Izuku to his chest. Izuku forgot how to breathe. One arm wrapped around him as the other rested on the back of his head, pushing his face to Aizawa's shoulder. His eyes watered, and the teen simply melted into the hug. God, problem child, you're going to make me go gray before my class can, he muttered, taking a deep breath. A tortured sob ripped itself from Izuku's throat as he buried his face into the crook of Aizawa's neck. I can't, Breathe. He didn't mean to cry, but being here, hugging Eraserhead, it made everything real. Izuku was out. He escaped. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was stupid, and I thought if I was alone, everyone would be happier. But I can't stay alone. It's okay, Yahoo. You're okay. You made the right call. Izuku clung to the man like a lifeline, ignoring the pain emitting from his left hand. I miss you. And Mirko and Hawks and... Izuku forcefully cut off his word vomit, lest he mentioned a name he'd regret. I know, kid. After another few long silences, The vigilante slowly let go of the underground hero, taking a shuddering breath. It seemed the man's quirk had calmed itself. How's Yuri? He asked, turning away and scrubbing his eyes under the goggles. It'd be more effective if he wasn't still crying.
She's been through a lot, and she still needs a lot of help,
Aizawa answered carefully.
We aren't sure what her quirk is.
Rewind, the teen whispered. Her quirk allows her to rewind things to an earlier state of their being, or even before they existed at all. That's why Overhaul... Izuku shook his head at the reminder. His mind strayed to screams of pain and bullets, currently hiding in the floorboards of the apartment.
Speaking of that,
I shot Overhaul with the final product. His quirk is gone, he admitted, shuffling nervously. Aizawa didn't even blink.
I know, but there were supposedly 8 bullets.
Not anymore. I destroyed them. When had he gotten so good at lying through his teeth?
Good,
the man grunted.
Now, Eri, she's been asking for you alongside Mirio. You understand why I can't allow you to visit her.
Yeah, I get it.
So don't visit room 237B on the 3rd floor at Musutafu General,
Aizawa threatened, nudging Izuku. He caught the hint, grinning. Wouldn't dream of it. For a moment, the two just stood there, hero and vigilante, bright and dark, teacher and student.
Don't disappear again. It's becoming tedious,
Aizawa spoke, pinching the bridge of his nose. His eyes watered. But hey, maybe it was just the dry eye, nothing else. I'll try.
Better not, you damn brat.
The second stop on his tour, Hawks. Izuku climbed into the unlocked window. The apartment was the same as it always was. A little cramped, a lot dingy. He'd think the number 2 hero would get paid better. Hawks! He heard a squawk from the kitchen, and the man peeked out.
Hey, Yahoo! Heard you had a rough vacation.
Hey, you could say that. Listen, I'm really sorry for avoiding you. I was horrible. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Yahoo. I get it. I get it more than you probably know. Hell, I bet Eraserhood could tell you that though. But it's whatever. We're fine.
Just like that, they stared awkwardly before the pro cocked his head.
Why are you just standing there? Come in. God, he loved Hawks. He was probably the only one he could count on being normal. And as much as Izuku loved being cared for and fretted over, he needed some normalcy. And so Izuku watched in mild horror as Hawks almost burnt down the apartment before ordering them both McDonald's. It wasn't the first time. It probably wouldn't be the last. He looked for the number 3 hero right after he finished his McDonald's. The one he feared the most, Mirko. He needed to make a plan before he found... Yahoo, you fucking brat! She found him. He's dead.
Before he could protest, Mirko dragged his sorry body into her arms and, oh, the rabbit hero squeezed him a little tighter. You scared the shit out of us! We thought you were dead after we checked the cameras, and suddenly you're there long enough to shoot Overhaul and buy a kid McDonald's, and then you disappear again? The teen swallowed harshly. Mirko, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you all would be better without me, so I'm sorry. Jesus! Shut up, okay? It's annoying. I'm over my ego, Izuku whispered, earning a snort. Yeah, I figured you were after what they found down there. His remaining fingers gripped a little tighter at the reminder. Oh, shit! My bad. Too soon? It's okay. Izuku laughed. It was watery, and he knew he'd be sobbing right after, but he laughed, and that was something. He missed her so much. Izuku was never going a lone wolf again. Ever. One of his last targets, obviously, he couldn't go back to Bakugo or his mom and say sorry to them, but Izuku let out an anxious breath. He wore a plain white t-shirt and black sweatpants with his ugly shoes, of course. Maybe wearing short sleeves weren't the best idea for being inconspicuous considering the multitude of bandages covering them, but it was hot out, and he had missed the feeling of the sun against his skin. He had sent both Shinso and Uraraka an email through a library computer to come to Uraraka's old cafe around 12 on Saturday and to please not tell anyone. Now he could only hope they'd show. He shifted nervously in his seat, forcefully gluing his eyes to the table. Looking up at the door every few minutes would do no good. Shortly after, there was shuffling in front of him. He glanced up into purple eyes first, then to brown eyes. Hey guys. That is the end of chapter 60. On to the next chapter. Chapter 61. Sorry guys. That's my bad. Summary. Izuku yaps with Uraraka and Shinso and visits Eri. Why is Sir Night-Eye here? Not one more word had been spoken. Each teen nervously stared into their drink. Well, Izuku did. They stared at him, eyes drinking in the sight of the very visible lack of fingers. I'm not the traitor, Izuku mumbled nervously. I know you have no reason to believe me or anything, and that's totally fine. We know, Uraraka interrupted. Huh? We know, Deku, she replied with a soft smile. We're just pissed that you disappeared off the face of the earth. I couldn't go back, and if I stayed, they would have sent me back to my mom. So? The brunette asked, cocking her head. You always have good things to say about her. I thought you and your mom got along. We do. Izuku took a long sip of his drink, ignoring the confused faces in front of him. It's complicated. How about this? Shinso spoke.
Instead of lying, you just tell us everything, complicated or not. Izuku's face flushed at the remark, clearly meant as both an actual suggestion and a jab to his more recent behavior.
Yeah, that would probably help.
And so Izuku talked, and talked, and talked a little more about All Might, Bakugo and his mom, his beginnings as Yahoo. The words came out like vomit, right up until he got to Overhaul, and the refused to come from the tight chest. He cleared his throat. Uh, mm, just give me a sec, guys. You don't have to talk about him. I was on the raid team. I know. So does Shinso. Uraraka said softly, eyes trailing up and down his bandaged arms. It almost felt like she could see underneath, to all the ugly cuts and bruises, and she chose to look anyways. If you disappear again, I'm ratting you out to Aizawa. Shinso! Uraraka elbowed him. That's what that look meant. They weren't treating him like Deku. They were treating him like a damn flight risk. He kind of was. Oops.
So we're okay? You guys aren't going to go tell Aizawa or the cops?
We're not, Shinso confirmed. Like, me and Uraraka aren't gonna snitch. Not as in we aren't okay. We're fine as long as you keep us updated. There was a brief, comfortable silence. One Izuku had missed. How had he done without them for so long?
Wait, how did Shinso find out that I'm you know who? Funny story.
Uraraka.
It's not my fault. He's the one who asked.
Izuku panted, dragging himself onto the ledge and through the open window. That was so not safe. What dumb nurse had left the window open? He stood up, brushing the dust off his costume. As soon as he glanced up, red eyes met his.
Eri!
Izuku said softly, slowly walking to the edge of the bed.
Mr. Yahoo!
Eri gasped.
All the other heroes said that you couldn't see me again. They were wrong. Of course I came. But won't you get in trouble? Why did you still come to see me? You asked.
The vigilante crouched at the bedside, peering up at the girl.
Why did you ask for me? Well, I remembered you were really hurt because of me,
she sniffled.
Lemillion said it wasn't my fault, but I know he's lying. Who else could have done it?
Eri? Izuku breathed, feeling sick to his stomach. He wished he'd shot Overhaul with a real bullet.
It wasn't your fault. Ask anyone. We're all just happy you're safe now, and we want to see you smile.
Eri struggled to move her cheeks up before she looked up guiltily.
This is silly, but I think I forgot how to smile.
Izuku is about to go back and finish the job.
That's not silly at all,
he reassured her.
sometimes it's hard for me to smile too, but I always keep trying. Eri, you deserve the world, okay? And some people here were gonna give it to you. Tears began to fall from the girl's eyes. At the same time, the hospital room's door burst open. Oh, good God. It was Sir Night-Eye. In the flesh, covered in bandages, but it was him nonetheless. You're Sir Night-Eye! Wow, I'm such a huge... Izuku choked out, then took a minute to really think here. Uh-oh. How did you do it? The man growled, staggering forward. Do what, sir? Izuku yelped as the man advanced on him, Eri watching in a shocked silence. You changed the future. Huh? That is the end of chapter 61 of So Keep On Going With Your Silly Dream by Piter on AO3. If you like this, please go support the original author. Link in the description below. Hope you have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye, kittens!